Hi everyone, what is up? It's Jolene from sunshinediary.com. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. As you can see by the title of this video, today I am going to be bearing my soul, or at least bearing my bank accounts for you guys. I am going to be telling you what I have spent over the past 7 days. Now, I have seen a ton of videos like this and I've always found them so interesting because I don't know, I guess I'm a bit nosy, and it's also really fascinating to see what the cost of living is in different parts of the world. So I thought I would do one, and I just sort of decided on the spur of the moment to do it. But then I thought to myself, I've just moved into a new home. If you've been watching my videos, you know that I just moved into a new place. So I'm actually spending a lot now on furnishing and decorating my new apartment. And so my expenditure every month is not exactly what it would normally look like. But I figured, you know what, let me do it anyway. If you didn't know, by the way, if you're new to my channel, I live in Brussels, Belgium. And I have a lot of friends back home who have thought about migrating to Europe, or who want to travel the world, or who are just curious. I thought, you know, why not? If you're thinking of moving to Europe, this might give you an idea of what your first month's expenses might look like. And if not, maybe you'll just enjoy this video because you're nosy and you want to know how I'm spending my money right now. Either way, I hope you enjoy this video. I was actually horrified when I did the tally and calculated exactly how much I spent over the past 7 days. Just for reference, by the way, today is Friday the 28th of August, if I'm not mistaken. So I am going to give you my spending from last Friday, the 21st, up until yesterday, the 27th. So yeah, when I calculated exactly what I had spent, it was hard. It was hard. I won't lie to you. I like to pride myself on being very frugal and knowing how to save my money and all of that, but I actually found that I spent quite a lot. Of course, like I said, this is not what my spending is usually going to be like, but I figured, you know what, let me be completely transparent. This is not going to be a useful or honest video if I don't tell the truth, or if I just wait until I know I'm not going to be doing anything for a week and then I go, "Ooh, look what I spent last week. I only spent €5." So here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to be breaking down the figures in a few different ways. I'm going to start off by giving you the actual number that came out of my account. How much money came out of my account on every given day for the past 7 days. That number can be a little bit deceptive. It doesn't take into account my expenses like rent and bills, for example, because obviously my rent and my bills don't come out of my account every day. So it's not going to really give you a good idea of my cost of living. So what is the number that I have spent total, what came out of my account? Then I have a separate category for what came out of my account minus any bills that might have been paid in this past week, because of course it's the end of the month, so maybe I paid a couple bills, but that's not something that would happen on a normal week. So I have subtracted that amount plus anything that I paid for the expenses of renovating, refurbishing, furnishing this new place. So what is the amount of just consumer expenditure that I chose to spend over the past 7 days? And then I made a tally of what was my consumer expenditure plus my bills and utilities and whatnot at a rate per day based on what I pay on a monthly or quarterly basis for my different bills. I know that might have sounded confusing, but just bear with me. I promise it's going to be really clear as we get into this. So, without any further ado, let's see what I've spent over the past 7 days. So, like I said, we're going to start with last Friday. That would have been Friday, the 21st of August. That was a day when I worked from home. I didn't go anywhere. I had no transport expenses for that day. And I actually didn't spend anything. Nothing came out of my account on Friday. Of course, I do pay every month all of my different utility bills, you know, my internet, my water, my gas and electricity, my mortgage and whatnot. So I have calculated a daily rate for what that costs. Based on my calculation, every day I spend €38 in fixed expenses. So I will say that what I spent on Friday was €38, but that didn't actually come out of my account that day. The following day was Saturday, the 22nd of August. I didn't actually go out as in socially. I stayed home for most of the day, but I did have some work being done in my apartment. I had some people that I hired to come in and do a job in my apartment on Saturday, and I did have to pay them. So that ended up costing me 102 euros on Saturday. Then I decided that I would be nice and order them a pizza. So I spent 25 euros on a Domino's pizza on Saturday as well. And then once those people had left, there was so much just like sawdust and chaos in my apartment. It was honestly stressful and depressing. So I did finally leave my apartment. I went to Cora, which is like a massive supermarket here, and I purchased just some basic groceries. I hadn't gone to the grocery the day before, the Friday, which is my usual grocery day. But I decided I would go on Saturday right after these people left. I purchased a couple essentials, not very much, mainly cleaning supplies, because when they had left, the place was chaotic, it was messy, and it was everything was covered in sawdust. And I am not only asthmatic, but I am allergic to dust. I get really bad, like itchy throat, swollen eyes, the whole 9 yards. So I ended up splurging and buying a brand new vacuum cleaner as well on Saturday. It had been something that I'd been putting off and hoping to, I don't know, find one on sale, Black Friday, something. I'd really been putting off because I knew it would be expensive because I wanted to get a good one. But after I saw the state of my apartment on Saturday, I have to admit, I kind of went a little bit crazy and I went out and I bought a new vacuum cleaner, and that cost me about 280 euros. So in total, I spent 102 euros to pay those workmen, 25 euros on their pizza. I spent 280 euros on a new vacuum cleaner. The grocery items that I purchased came up to 46 euros and 49 cents. And I also did spend 2 euros and 80 cents on transport. So that would have been my metro ticket there and back home. My metro ticket to the grocery, of course, and back home. So that's what I spent in total. It would have come up to 453 euros and 49 cents of money that came out of my account on Saturday. Now, if I were to remove from that the amount that I paid for things that were completely like only related to the fact that I've moved into a new place, what I spent came up to 74 euros and 29 cents on Saturday. And of course, I could add to that the 38 euros that I pay per day for all of my bills and fixed expenses. So that would bring us to a total of 112 euros and 29 cents that I spent on Saturday. But what actually came out of my account, like I said, was 453.49. Now, on Sunday, I didn't go anywhere. But unfortunately, even when you don't go anywhere, you can still spend money. And I did end up making an Amazon purchase, well, a few Amazon purchases on Sunday that ended up coming up to a total of 81 euros and 73 cents. Am I proud of myself? No, not really. But you know what? That's life. One of the things did have to do with my new apartment. I bought curtains for my guest bedroom. And because I was having a guest coming to stay over on Wednesday night, I really thought it was time that I get some curtains so that she could have some privacy in that room. Those came up to 45 euros and 99 cents. Other than that, I bought a new pepper mill, for my black pepper. I bought a rug. I have some beautiful faux lambskin rugs, but after about a year or two of use, they start to look really ratty and you have to replace them. So I bought a new one that only cost me about 12 euros. The pepper mill cost me 10 euros. I bought a new oil sprayer thing to help me dispense oil in a more even way, and also I don't know, I feel like it's a little bit healthier because you don't get quite so much oil when you're cooking if you use this little dispenser. So I bought one. It ended up only costing me 13 euros and 74 cents. But like I said, overall, what came out of my account that day turned out to be 81 euros and 73 cents. And yeah, not massively proud of myself, but also I don't hugely regret any of those purposes. If I were to subtract the curtains, which like I said, I wouldn't have bought those if I hadn't just moved into a new place, then what I spent, like my just consumer expenses, would have come up to 35 euros and 74 cents that day. Of course, if I add to that number the 38 euros that I spend per day on my bills and fixed expenses, that comes up to a total of 73 euros and 74 cents that I spent on Sunday. Now, on Monday, bright and early, I got an email from FedEx. I had ordered a rug for my front room, and I think it was being imported from the US, so it was being delivered by FedEx. They sent me an email to say that there was some sort of import duty that I had to pay, which was a surprise to me. The rug itself is not on my list of expenses for this past week because I actually bought it and paid for it in a previous week. But this import duty did come out of my account on Monday, and it came up to a total of 36 euros and 74 cents. I also had to pay a bill on Monday. It wasn't like a regular bill. When I moved into this apartment, I had to have them install gas and electricity and all of that, and install new meters for me. So I had to pay a one-off fee for installation, and that came up to 108 euros and 90 cents, which also came out of my account on Monday. I then went to IKEA. I took the metro there and back. That came up to a total of €1.40. And at IKEA, I bought a whole bunch of things for my guest bedroom in particular. I also bought some drawer pulls for the kitchen island and whatnot in my kitchen. And my total IKEA bill came up to 60 euros and 94 cents. So my total expenditure, all the money that came out of my account on Monday, came up to 206 euros and 58 cents. However, pretty much all of that was related to the fact that I've just moved into a new place. So the only thing that I can say that I spent that wasn't directly related to my new apartment was the €1.40 that I spent in transport. That was my metro journey. So if I were to subtract any bills and anything related to the new place, I spent €1.40. But of course, I would have to add to that the amount that I spend per day on all of my bills, and that would bring my total spend for Monday to 39 euros and 40 cents. Now moving on to Tuesday. Tuesday, I went to the grocery. I did some grocery shopping. I know I already had gone to the grocery on Saturday, but like I said, I was mostly focused on getting a vacuum cleaner. I really just bought a few essentials, but I had a guest coming to stay over at my place on Wednesday, so I wanted to make sure that I was sort of well stocked with all of the things that she might need or want. So I did go and do a proper grocery shop on Tuesday, and that bill came up to 71 euros and 26 cents, which is quite a bit more than I would ordinarily spend at the grocery. But I decided that, I would make sure that my pantry and my fridge were well stocked. So basically that's what it came up to, 71 euros and 26 cents. And I didn't spend anything on bills on my new apartment that day. But if I include with that 71 euros and 26 cents, the amount that I spend per day, that 38 euros for my fixed expenses, the total amount that I would have spent that day would come up to 109 euros and 26 cents spent on Tuesday, the 25th of August. By the way, I should say that I am not going to be talking about how much I spent on every different meal. If I had food at home that I cooked and then ate, which is what I usually do, I don't count it as an expense. I feel like it's bad math. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know what you think about this down in the comments. I'm sure you've watched a ton of what I've spent in a week videos, but I feel like if you count what you have spent on every meal that you cooked using ingredients that you already had at home, you're counting those things twice, because I've told you I went to the grocery twice and I told you exactly what I spent on my groceries each time. So if I were to then also add to that what I ate using the groceries that I had bought, then I would be factoring those things in twice. So I've just decided not to even bother mentioning those things. If you want to know on average what each of my meals cost, I guess I could do a sort of what I eat in a week video and show you that. Let me know if that interests you. But I figured it would be a little bit misleading and probably bad math. I'm not good at math. I'm a linguist, so I could be wrong. But yeah, I figured it would be bad math to actually include that, so I haven't done that. The next day was Wednesday the 26th, and it was the second to last day that I am tracking for this video on what I spent in a week. And I actually didn't spend very much. In terms of consumer expenses, things that I actually just chose to spend money on, I actually only spent €2. I decided to buy some toothpicks. That's a long story. Basically, I had bought some escargot at the grocery, and I don't actually have escargot forks, but I know that you can eat escargot with toothpicks. Plus, they're probably cheaper than escargot forks. Plus, I have no idea where to actually go to buy escargot forks. So anyway, I spent €2 at the grocery on toothpicks. But it so happened that obviously now we're getting really close to the end of the month. And on Wednesday, the 26th, a bill was paid. Now, my bills are paid by direct debit, so I don't actually have to do anything to pay a bill. I just see, bam, some money is missing from my account, and it turned out to be my electricity and gas bill, the monthly bill this time, not the one-off installation fee. So my monthly electricity and gas bill comes up to €70 a month, and that was paid on Wednesday. So in total, what came out of my account turned out to be €72. But if I were to just say, what was my consumer expense? I only spent €2. And if I, of course, add to that the amount per day that I spend on all of my bills and fixed expenses, then I would say that on Wednesday, I spent €40. Moving on to the final day that I tracked in this what I spend in a week video. Basically, this was yesterday, and yesterday also happens to be the day when I decided, let's do a what I spend in a week video. And I stopped and I decided to track what I had spent over the past 6-7 days. And I have to say I was freaked out, which might explain the fact that yesterday I didn't spend a cent. I didn't spend anything. Admittedly, I didn't have anywhere to go. I had quite a lot of work to do. I stayed at home. I ate only things that I had at home. So it would have been odd as well if I found some way to spend. I had no workmen coming over, So yeah, I didn't spend anything yesterday. What came out of my account amounted to zero. And my consumer expenses, therefore, were also zero. Of course, there are those bills. Like I said, if I were to add up the total amount that I paid, divide that by 31 and see how much I spent on each of those things for the entire month of August per day, then I did spend those €38 yesterday on Thursday, but that didn't actually come out of my account yesterday. And that, fortunately, wraps up every single thing that I spent for the past week. But wait, of course, I am going to give you the total numbers. I am not going to make you calculate. So everything that came out of my account for the past 7 days was a whopping €889.26 that came out of my account over the past 7 days. Yes, I wanted to cry yesterday when I made that calculation. But if I were to remove that one bill that I paid, which was €70, then the total that I chose to pay was €819.26, which doesn't make things any better, really. But if I were to look at what I spent just on this new apartment and what I spent only because I've recently moved into a new place, then my total spending on the apartment alone came up to actually €634.57, which is the bulk of what I spent last week. So to be fair, what I actually spent just because I chose to spend money on this, groceries, things that I wanted to randomly buy on Amazon, that only came up to €184.69 only. I mean, it could be better, but it could have been worse. Now, if I were to take the €38 that I spend per day on my fixed expenses, all of my bills and whatnot, and multiply that by 7, then it costs me €266 per week to live here. And if I were to add to that the €184 that I spent, €184.69 that I chose to spend, my total cost of living for the past 7 days amounted to €450.69. Now, that could have been better, but it could have been a lot worse. So let's multiply that by 4 and see what that comes up to per month. So that is about €1,802.76. Not about, exactly €1,802.76 if I were to spend that amount every week. Of course, that doesn't take into account anything but the money that I choose to spend as a consumer and my bills. It doesn't take into account the new apartment, which is admittedly making my monthly spending ridiculously high at the moment. In normal times, I do try to keep my spending within 1,500 euros a month approximately. I know that's really ambitious, but like I said, I try to be frugal. So if I had spent like this every single week for the month of August, I would have spent about 300 euros more this month than my target, but I actually think my spending was pretty high over the past 7 days. I've shown it to you nonetheless because I wanted to be transparent, but I think I'm not too far off my target. I think I'm just a little bit over what I want to be spending on a monthly basis. And well, the apartment is coming in and it's just throwing my bank account into a tailspin. But you know, it will be over one day. There's still so many things that I need to do. I want to buy a dishwasher and then I have to have that installed. I have some repairs that I want to do on the balcony. I want to install some bespoke cabinetry in the hallway. I need to buy a new bed for the guest room. So many things, so many things, so many things. But you know what? For now, I will say that I feel like I'm still in control. I wish I had spent less, but I don't feel like I overspent on anything. And you might have noticed I didn't spend on anything super frivolous like makeup, or you know, I didn't go on expensive dinners with my friends or anything like that. Not that I'm judging anyone who does, but I'm saying, you know, I still feel like it was okay. Basically, I still feel like I did okay, but let me know what you think in the comments down below. So that is what I spent this past week. I hope this has been interesting to you. Even if it's just to satisfy your curiosity, I'm here, I'm happy to do that. If you have enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. It's free and it really helps my channel. Share this video if you think you know someone else who might be interested in it. And if you are still here and you think you might enjoy the type of content that I create, please do consider subscribing. I try very hard to fill my channel with interesting and useful content, and it would mean so much to me if you chose to stick around for the journey. So with that being said, this is the end of my video and I hope that I will see you in my next one. Bye bye.